You just got weaseled. We are building a weasel army, all right? Here we go.
Oh, Ethan.
A terrible take on your Instagram.
You... Oh, yeah, I know. No, go ahead, show it. I know what you're going to say, and you're fucking wrong, bro. Well, let's watch the original video first, and then you can yell at me for my take. Do we have that one in the war zone?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Let's hop on down.
You notice they let go of their Yoko Ono sample. That thing was like war zone. It was actually a Yoko Ono track.
Hasan thinks he's Superman. Thank you. Very humble guy, by the way.
So, like, what Superman does here is his involvement in global affairs, like his moral compass causes others to also take action, causes others who have power to also take action. He literally makes people, he springs others into action. That's the whole point. That is the I don't know. I just saw like a lot of
bro, what
of what I've tried.
I'm sorry, but
Hello.
I'm already cringing. But now it gets bad. Now it gets bad.
With commentary in general, which is like to influence others to also do right and to defend vulnerable people and to show by not just telling but also doing, no matter what the repercussions are.
Okay, so chat, I'm gonna say something that you're probably not gonna hear me say very often or very much, but Ethan has a point here. That is cringe. That is cringe. All right, to compare your, streaming, what you do as a streamer to Superman is cringe. However, I would be daft if I did not recognize the degree to which Superman, as a comic initially targeted at children, fulfills a very common power fantasy. So is it cringe that Hasan said that? Yes. It's Superman. Everybody sees themselves. That's why people watch Superman. They're like, I could be like that. I'm kind of like that. Yeah, I could do that. Like leap buildings in a single jump faster than a speeding bullet. I could do that. Yeah, that'd be cool. Right? Yeah, literally, that's the whole appeal of Superman. Power fantasy. Yeah, Hasan's having a little power fantasy. You caught him, Ethan. Good job. Good job. You were right about something in a criticism of Hasan, and it doesn't fucking matter. It's the most banal criticism that you could possibly have. So there you go, Ethan. Never say I didn't do anything for you. That is indeed a little cringe. That is indeed a little cringe. But who the fuck is calling Hasan cringe? Right? The fucking power trip meister right here with Ethan Klein. All right? Everything that this guy does is a fucking power. This is the guy that compared himself to Kendrick. Okay? No, I'm sorry. I'm not letting you get, like, you're the last person in the world to make this criticism. But yeah, fucking valid criticism, I guess. We haven't seen the rest of the, video, so I don't really have the context or anything. But, yeah, sure. It's kind of cringe, whatever. It's like the most banal criticism you could possibly have. Wait, are we talking about Adam Friedland? Oh no, Adam McIntyre did his solo show in NYC. Ethan is Gollum.
And I think that was what was great. Like, he is an inspirational figure, not just inspirational towards human beings, but also towards metahumans and people who are powerful.
So chat will have to explain what a metahuman is to me. I don't really. What is a metahuman?
Themselves.
This is a DC thing.
He's saying he's respectful to metahumans.
You paused it at the worst possible moment. I could not follow the point he was trying to make.
Because this is what he always does. He's talking nonsense.
Sometimes here, not just.
Dude, Ethan, you fucking blew it. You actually had some semblance of a point there, and you fucking blew it. Also, you're the wrong person to make that criticism, but whatever.
Back for you, Dan.
Which is like to
I went back for you, Dan.
Take action. Okay. He literally makes people He springs others into action. That's the whole point. That is the I don't know. I just saw like a lot of what I've tried to do with commentary in general, which is like to influence others to also do right and to defend vulnerable people.
Okay, now I'm following.
And to show.
I think you paused it right at that pivotal part.
By not just telling, but also doing, no matter what the repercussions are. And I think that was what was great. Like, he is an inspirational figure, not just inspirational towards human beings, but also towards metahumans and people who are powerful themselves.
So he liked the Superman movie because Superman reminded him
like, sometimes it's okay to do good.
Have you ever watched Superman and thought, that
Look,
reminds me of me?
Look, if this narcissism makes Hasan like do good things, then like good for him. Like I really cannot be bothered.
Man,
you know who that reminds me of? Me. You know, Superman, the impossibly like powerful and valorous, chivalrous, like perfect moral compass, basically a perfect human being. You know who that reminds me of? Me.
Got it.
you know.
And parents.
Sorry, what is
from Krypton?
What is the whole thing about meta humans? What is that? I don't even know what that means.
If you're going to go through the mythology,
Oh God,
send
there's a
him
Ben
to
Shapiro
Earth so
review.
that he can be a
there's gonna
moral
be
guide
spoilers,
for
I
people
think.
on Earth.
I'm trying to pause it, yeah, but that's enough. That's all I wanted to show. Except
Spoiler: Superman's not from Earth.
No, it's more than
No,
that.
I know.
I watched some of Ben Shapiro's.
Oh, you watched his review, right? He does a lot of movie reviews.
now his
right?
son, he talks about how he has dedicated his life to protecting those vulnerable under him, and no matter what the cost is. Now, I thought this was especially ironic, given that last week he dropped the T slur on his stream and has refused to acknowledge or apologize for it. Let's see. I think we blurred it, right? Or we beeped it.
A metahuman is a person with powers. Wait, is there? So it's just like a super person. Like so, any superhero is a metahuman.
Wait, are you skipping your take on
Yeah,
the
what-
super?
what-
wait,
we
We're
don't
gonna
need to
come
talk
back.
Also, I thought that Superman was straight up an alien.
Okay.
No, I want to.
Okay.
I'm not skipping.
Okay.
I'll stand on my take with 10 fucking.
Like a meta universe human. I feel like isn't the meta universe thing more of a MCU deal?
10 toes down.
Okay.
Houthi style.
California officials are failing to protect girls on the playing field and in the locker room. The Department of Justice has filed suit. Going into the replies and seeing the big bad rhetoric is not working on the right wingers is honestly amazing.
So wait, he's reading Juniper's tweet. He's reading out the tweet. Let me make sure. I actually don't know if this is Juniper's account. If you don't know, Juniper was I think that is Onion person. I can't tell, chat. It's actually, wait, can we make this a little bit 480? Let's make it 1080. I think that account is called Onion Person, and I think that's Juniper's account. Juniper is trans, and is using that word, the T slur is the word in a like giving voice to the thoughts of a transphobe, right? And so Hasan reads out Juniper's. I think this is Juniper. I'm not entirely sure. It's Juniper's avatar. The thing is, Juniper got banned. Juniper, by the way, is the one that came up with the joke that they removed the dick vein from, I think it was like a Milky Way. You know how like the Milky Way has like this like little thing that looks like a vein? Juniper's joke was like, hey, they're making Milky Way woke. They removed the dick vein because they're afraid of masculinity. And like a bunch of right wingers jumped on and was like, yeah, why'd they remove the dick vein? Right. So it was a kind of an epic shit post, right? And Juniper's one of the epic shit posters of all times. Juniper was banned by Elon for I don't remember what. And after they were banned, a whole bunch of accounts showed up with their likeness on it. So I'm not sure if this is actually Juniper, somebody that uses Juniper's old avatar, but yeah, they're the one saying, I think it's a trans person, posting with the T slur in their tweet and Hasan reading it out. So that's what he caught Hasan doing. Now watch how he tries to characterize this, though.
Did too many tariffs is what you.
Wow, we got Hutch again somehow.
California officials are failing to protect girls on the playing field and in the locker room. The Department of Justice has filed suit. Going into the replies and seeing the big bad rhetoric is not working on the right wingers is honestly amazing. Oh my God, they tried to do it. They tried to do the trans thing.
Wait, what? Where was it?
It was blurred. It was censored.
No, but he said
California
the word.
officials are failing to protect girls on the playing field and in the locker room. The Department of Justice has filed suit. Going into the replies and seeing the big bad rhetoric is not working on the right wingers is honestly amazing.
I thought there would be a bleep. So he says big bad T word for trans people, which is really what's the T slur? Oh, it's the T.
Google it.
It would be hilarious if Ethan got a question, what's the T slur, and he just said it. After criticizing Hasan for reading a trans person's tweet that included the T slur, if Ethan just was like, oh, it's, and he goes ahead and says it.
It's a slur for trans people.
Yeah.
And it's very it's a very bad one. Now he was just reading a post, right, with it in it. But that's what the majority of times that I've said slurs is me doing that. And Hasan and everyone else doesn't think that that detail is important. Now, what's the difference is that he's refusing to.
That detail? The detail that he's reading a trans person's tweet and they're not even using the word to reclaim it, right? The word is used there to characterize the opinion of transphobes, right? That's why that word is used there.
Apologize.
And as far as being a really bad slur, no, it's actually not a particularly, like, as slurs go, right? They're like, look, there's certain slurs that are just like the N word with a hard R, generally not acceptable in any context, right? But you could imagine a black person describing somebody's racist thought process if they use that word with a hard slur. That's not, that's kind of the equivalent of what we're seeing here, right? It was a word that was not a slur, maybe not considered a slur in the 2000s, I think. Over the 2010s, it became a word that, is not, it's an acceptable word for, trans people to use in trans spaces, in like, I guess, a reclamation sense. But yeah, I don't know, as far as slurs go, I don't think it's a particularly egregious one. It is one that you should not say if you're cis. You should try to avoid it. And yeah, probably even if you're reading it, you should try to avoid it. Hasan did not avoid it. He just read it out. And honestly, I'm not super bothered by it.
Apologize for it. Or even acknowledge it. Like, that happened to me one time on Leftovers, where there was I accidentally said that the T slur, we had talked about it and it was meant to be cut, but it was accidentally left in. And I was doing a character, yeah. I was playing a character. I didn't mean it. It kind of slipped out, and I was like, oh, we got to cut that. But it actually made the cut, and this is what I said 3 years ago. I said, I'm so very sorry about this. You're 100% right. I was supposed to be cut. It was left by mistake. I know I was in character as an ignorant person, but I should never have said it regardless. I feel horrible. I'm so sorry. We're going back and cutting it out of the episode. Also, do not be rude, please. They're 100% right and was completely respectful with their feedback, which they didn't have to be. Now, Hasan, I think...
I'm sorry, but this reads to me like Ethan, this reads to me kind of like, this is performative from Ethan. From a guy that's done honestly a lot of really offensive things towards trans people and to other marginalized groups, right? This is performative. This is PR. I'm sorry. This is the guy that has the LGBTQ minute of silence in his program.
It's his. I think it is genuinely his policy. He thinks that this is the way to operate. Never apologize for anything ever. Like, I genuinely think that's...
Well, that's really inconvenient, considering that he has apologized for a lot of things. I don't think he owed... I don't feel owed an apology by Hasan, honestly. Like, he's reading Juniper's tweet. The tweet contains the T slur. It's like written in the voice of a Do you see the difference between Juniper, a trans person, writing this slur in a tweet, and Ethan writing this slur in a script? Do you see that there's a little difference there, right? And yeah, Hasan probably shouldn't have read it out loud. But you know, it's pretty clear that he just like was reading the tweet and that word was in there. Ethan's performative apology he just read was ChatGPT. It does sound like ChatGPT. Asked for performance. Yeah, who says way worse stuff every day? Yeah, like Hasan does not have an inward tape, right? Ethan Klein has, I believe, a 7-minute inward tape. Right? So there's 7 minutes of the guy saying the N-word, mostly with a hard R, if I remember correctly. Remember that Ethan still has a song called M-Slur? Matzah dedicated to Hila on his channel.
His policy, and I mean, you can see it here. Like, there's no reason for him not to just like acknowledge and apologize. And the timing of it is quite bad as well, considering he goes from saying the T slur to attacking ContraPoints.
It's the other way around. He started with ContraPoints, the next...
It's just, if you weren't so blatantly trying to catch Hasan on optics, like, I'd be more tempted to entertain, you know, this, right? It's just,
day he said the slur.
He started it by attacking ContraPoints, and then, but here it says the same day.
It might be the same day.
And then the very same day attacking ContraPoints, which again, optically, if you're going to accuse me of being a misogynist for suing 3 women, like, this is, I mean, this has way more credence. If you are like me, a spoiled child of America, and your focus after 20 months of live streamed Holocaust of children in Gaza is still on your personal feelings instead of unconditional support to the victims of genocide, there's more honor in continuing to stay silent. He's talking about ContraPoints, who, by the way, did offer her her unconditional support. What she did offer is criticism of Hasan and the online left's handling of this situation, and her opinion.
Oh, hard R full F slur. Yeah, now I remember that. That's the iDubbbz thing.
Of how it's alienating people and how it's unhelpful. And Hasan, feeling personally slighted about that, turns it into, actually, you're pro-genocide, which is constantly the constant line of attack that I hope is becoming more obvious to people.
To be fair, Ethan is more of a misogynist. Oh,
as time goes on.
Oh, that's so.
But on this very same day, he accuses her of being pro-genocide. He also calls her the T slur, and has not.
This is a script that he's reading from. Now, we heard what he just said, and it had nothing to do with ContraPoints. It had nothing, nowhere close to anything. He just accused Hasan of calling ContraPoints the T slur. Watch the reaction from the crew.
Acknowledged or apologized for that.
Did not call her.
No, he was reading a tweet of somebody referring to.
He didn't call her the T slur.
He said the T slur. Yeah. Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that was just a little misunderstanding. I totally wasn't being bad faith there. I totally wasn't trying to straight up lie to you about what Hasan said. I totally wasn't trying to slip it in there that Hasan called ContraPoints. I mean, I can say it. I don't feel like saying it. Yeah. Wow. Wow. So yeah, there's Hasan being a transphobe, I guess. Now I guess we got to move on to Hasan being anti-Semitic, and by the level of good faith in that accusation from Ethan, I think you can kind of guess the level of faith in his accusation that Hasan is also an anti-Semite.
And I've been wanting to talk about the ContraPoints thing because I want to read her statement just to show how fucking reasonable it is. And we'll get into this.
But yeah, of course, podcaster Ethan Klein, voice of support.
Oh yeah, I made a point to defend her, obviously, because she's getting absolutely.
If you wanted to find an incidence of Hasan being kind of, like showing some antipathy to the trans community, right? You can find it. I've called it out before, right? His reaction to people being upset with his debate against, Christian Walker. Yeah. His reaction to that was not great. All right. And, I don't think it was him being transphobic necessarily, but yeah, it was him just like refusing to listen to the concerns of trans people, which you should. If you're doing fucking debates about, look, I'm sorry, but if you're going to do debates about, anti-black racism and some black people have some thoughts on that, you're not going to tell them to shut the fuck up and suck your dick. And you shouldn't say that to trans people with some concerns, even if you think that they're off base, even if you think the concerns are completely off base, right? The right response to that is not shut the fuck up, suck my dick, right? That's and Hasan said that. So yeah, you could definitely find instances of, Hasan not doing right by trans people. This ain't it, Ethan. This ain't it. This is not it at all.
Creamed, as we all unfortunately knew she would, as being pro-genocide. And once you guys see what she actually said, which maybe it's a long, I think I can read it pretty fast. But it's actually a great statement. It's a thoughtful statement. It's one that very much supports Palestinians and is very much against the Israeli government, But it's not enough because Hasan has somehow successfully brainwashed people into thinking that criticizing him is being pro-genocide. It's truly amazing. And
Ethan reads and we read this, chat. We read this the other day, right? Ethan reads Contra's statement, her Reddit statement, as criticizing Hasan, who she doesn't mention, and he's turning it into like Hasan feels like he can't be criticized. God damn. I'm just saying that there are appropriate criticisms for Hasan. Now, chat, for that one, I had to go back, I think, 2 or 3 years. And that's the most recent one I can remember. And it wasn't like Hasan was being transphobic, right? That wasn't the problem. It was, just that, it was the same thing that Professor Dave did, frankly, right? When he went after Matt Walsh. I didn't criticize Professor Dave for being transphobic because he wasn't. He just, wasn't as informed as I would like somebody, engaging Matt Walsh on issues of transphobia to be, right? That's all. It's,
By the way,
it wasn't great, but yeah, it wasn't him being transphobic either.
ContraPoints is one of the most intelligent, thoughtful people on the left, and I mean,
if that's true, we're fucked, Ethan. We're washed. If she's one of the most intelligent, thoughtful, especially the thoughtful part, right? That's the whole problem. Yeah, she's intelligent, sure. I wouldn't say she's thoughtful. In fact, I would think that that's one of her big, falling down points. And same thing with Contra's scandals in the past. A lot of it has just been like failing to listen, right? You know, like making an argument against pronoun circles without being willing to like listen to the concerns of like non-binary and gender non-conforming people. That, you know,
being aligned with her is fucking fantastic for me.
But yeah, of course, podcaster Ethan Klein voices support for Contra Boys on his Instagram story. It is important to remind people that there is space to be anti-genocide, but also against annihilating Israel. Thank you, Contra Points. It's important to remind people that there is space to be anti-genocide.
I don't know what you mean by annihilating Israel, but literally nobody's talking about that. That's not what abolishing Zionism would be. A fucking military conflict, or what you're talking about is some kind of like, you know, ethnic cleansing, right? That's not what's being talked about. We're talking about enfranchising Palestinian people. You've got a de facto one state right now. Netanyahu's bragged about this. The problem is it's an apartheid state with various tiers of citizenship based on, you know, your proximity to a ethno-religious identity, right? That's what's going on in Israel right now. What the problem with Israel is not the people living there; it's the government. It's the lack of enfranchisement of the Palestinian people being ruled by a government that they can't vote on, right? The solution to that is one person, one vote. Isn't that what Norm Finkelstein's whole thing, where he doesn't like the from the river to the sea, and he proposes like an alternate version, and it's super clunky, but it's something like from the river to the sea, one person, one vote. You know, I don't know, right? It's
Hold on, he's not even reading. It's important to remind people that there's space to be anti-genocide, pro-Palestine, and also against annihilating Israel. Wow, that's crazy. What a great God, dude, what? This guy wants to kill children.
Pro-Palestine, but also against annihilating Israel. It is my belief that any lasting peace must have two elements: Palestinian self-determination and secure borders for Israel. Without both, peace fails. Many leftists would rather focus on purity tests and social credits than having a meaningful and realistic conversation about creating a lasting peace. The reaction to your post will prove my point, unfortunately.
Literally nothing objectionable about that. Let's see how he spends this one, guys.
This is the other side of the story. Annihilating Israel. Dog, you're a fucking Nazi, okay? When you
call a Jewish person, an Ashkenazi Jewish person, a Nazi, or any Jewish person a Nazi like that, just as a blatant insult, I mean, that's anti-Semitic. There's just no, that's straight up Holocaust inversion. It's blatant.
Holocaust inversion would be like claiming that Jewish people did something bad to the Germans, right? I feel like fascist would be more accurate of a statement, but that's what he was trying to say. That's what he was getting at, all right? He's not calling you a secret Hitler fan. He's calling you a fascist because you got a ultra-nationalist, palingenetically ultra-nationalist perspective on the situation of Israel, Palestine. That's what he's saying. All right.
Fucking hateful anti-Semitism. It's just brazen. And
yeah, you're right. You're right. Miku's headphones. Jewish people can straight up be Nazis, and unfortunately, there's examples of that. Particularly, actually, among the Zionists that tried to reach out to the Nazi German government and make a separate peace there, right? That the very least Nazi collaborators, right? And more recently, Stephen Miller, I guess, would be an example of somebody I would call a Jewish, someone who is Jewish that I would call accurately a Nazi. So yeah, Jewish people can be Nazis. I don't think I would call Ethan Klein that, but I do understand classifying his nationalistic outlook as being fascist, as being he's echoing Israeli fascism.
And it is what it is.
You say annihilating Israel. What you're talking about is the perspective that Israel should have democracy for everyone. Israel should not do an ethnic cleansing, and Israel should allow the Palestinians, who literally it occupies every fucking facet of existence of, breathing room. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, like all you could accuse Hasan here is conflating Nazis with fascists, which is like, I mean, it's not that big of a leap, right? It's technically inaccurate, but again.
No, what I'm talking about is what you said Israel should have done in response to October 7th, which is dissolve your border and fire your government. You know, it's a country that exists. It has borders. It has 20% of its population.
Does it have borders? Could the IDF stay within those borders? Why are they in Lebanon? Why are they in Syria? Why are they in Palestine? Why are they in the West Bank? Why are they in Iran? Right? You say they have borders. They're not acting like they have borders. They're acting like the whole fucking Middle East is literally up for grabs, and that is the project of Greater Israel.
Palestinians, I believe that they do have virtually equal rights there, although there's a lot of social, much like racism is in America, where it's like technically on the books there's not, but obviously there's a lot of room to improving the situation for Palestinians who are living in Israel proper. But my point is that you want to fucking, I mean, you said it yourself. You said the point of the Houthis blockade is to make it so it's so uncomfortable for Israelis that they leave. You want Israelis to leave. That's what I'm talking about, and you're lying.
Okay? Meaningful existence. Treat them like fucking human beings instead of a parasitic force that must be excised.
That's not what I want at all. That's not what I said at all. Yeah.
That is unacceptable. Why? Because you're a Zionist. And you have the exact same hysterical fear that is rooted within Islamophobia and ethno-religious supremacy.
He is so full of shit here. Virtually equal rights. I mean, look, Palestinians can't walk down certain roads and such and so forth. They have to get a special license plate, you know, to show when they're on roads that they're not allowed to be on. But no, it's virtually equal rights.
Attitude.
And also, if you want to fucking flex the equal rights, then give Palestinians those rights as well as, you know, the big thing would be voting rights, right?
One of the most cynical things they do is this constant like reaffirmation that anti-Semitism is hysterical. It's hysterical. It's overblown.
No, that's not what Hasan says at all. He constantly goes over the real world anti-Semitism that exists, that is proliferating, and that is not on the downside. It's not like being reduced, but is actually increasing. Right? Hasan is very clear that anti-Semitism is a huge problem, is hugely prominent, and is becoming more and more mainstreamed, right? Hasan is never acting like anti-Semitism doesn't fucking exist. Of course it does. It's you know, unfortunately getting more and more common, more and more mainstreamed. Hallucinatory. Thank you. English major Ethan Klein.
Like, I'm sorry, but Israelis
sorry that a fucking STEM lord has to correct you on your
are not hallucinating when Houthis flag says death to Israel, death to Jews, you know, and Hamas's charter literally, you know, what are we doing here? How are we going to?
And you can't recognize the difference between like a German Nazi saying something similar because of their aggrievement and the lies and the propaganda that have been shoved down their throats, that there was some kind of backstab that went on from the Jewish people, that the Jewish people are all, as a group, are in league with their enemies, the Russians, right? They're doing Judeo-Bolshevism, right? That they're inherently communist, right? You can't see a difference between weaponizing that to like give a permission, to legitimate a fucking genocide, and people in a country like Yemen that's being subjected to genocide by forces, including allies of Israel in the form of the United States and Saudi Arabia, right? You can't see the difference between that kind of reaction and the German like fucking propaganda false grievance. Really?
Actually have a meaningful conversation that starts with Jews are hallucinating anti-Semitism. And that's one of ContraPoint's points.
He didn't say, Ethan, he didn't say Jews.
Is that like, I believe anti-Semitism.
He didn't say Jews are hallucinating anti-Semitism, Ethan. He said that you are hallucinating anti-Semitism. I'm sorry, Ethan. You don't stand for the entirety of the Jewish people. In fact, I feel like there's a lot of Jewish people that would like to make a point, a very clear point, that you do not represent them. Right? I hear that all the time.
Is a real thing, and it's a problem. That's part of the issue that they took with her statement, that now has painted her as a Nazi. The shit that people are saying about her online is truly
I mean, look, he called you a Nazi, not ContraPoints.
Bending, and I hope that this can wake some people up on the who are kind of on the center of the issue to seeing how the online left has completely.
I mean, Ethan, people have woken up, and whereas ContraPoints would have been reflexively defended a few years ago, now she's essentially alienated herself from her audience. So, Ethan, enjoy the clout that you would have gotten from Contra had she not burned it up already.
Weaponized this horrible thing to defend themselves against any criticism. And by the way, the length which they will go to smear their political opponents like ContraPoints and myself, there's no decency, there's no limit. It's totally a ends justify the means situation. I mean, look what they're saying about.
I'm sorry, an ends justify the means situation, like what you said, the logic that you're operating on post CPS, like what you said, that after CPS the gloves come off. You basically said you're the one that's operating on ends justify the means logic. You're the one that's oh my God, Chad, I wanted to bring in the Sam Cedar Tim Pool argument with the consequentialism versus the whole question of utilitarianism, but no.
About ContraPoints.
Palestinians and Jews can never get along.
Never said that.
Palestinian Muslims, Palestinian Christians, and Jews can never.
Again, he's the one that said he wants Israelis to leave, and that's the point of terrorizing them. So
that's pressure on Israel if people want to leave. That's true, right? Pressure for what goal? Not to get Israelis to self-deport, which wouldn't fucking happen anyway, but rather pressure to abolish the apartheid system that they currently live under. That's why Hasan said that would, people leaving would make them, because they got this whole great replacement sort of thing going on there, right? Where they think about the demographics. They're very worried about the demographics. Oh my gosh, are the Palestinians going to outbreed us? Oh no, we're being replaced. Palestinians will not replace us. Palestinians will not. I mean, that's what they're doing right now. They got their fucking Israel's got their tiki torches out there, and they're carrying them and chanting. So there we go, Chad. I think I got this covered. Hasan is an anti-Semitic transphobe